Racing Championship of Steam Gaming. We're just about to approach the start. Rolling start, lights going green any second now. We've got Vermeulen on pole, that's Jasmine, and Wilkenow is down on the outside as they head towards turn 1 at Tamburello, which is a left chicane. And we're just waiting to get the shot from the front so we can see who's where, who's coming out in front. It's very tight there in the midfield, and we'll jump back on with Jasmine at the front, and he's been overtaken by Wilkenow, who must have got the good line round the outside there, and he's got the oh no, hang on a minute, we're just getting a little bit of an update on that. It is Wilkenow in the McLaren in front, and then Jasmine, it's Vermeulen in second place. Patrick, who only joined the championship last week, he's up there in third place. He had a great start there. Boy Racer, who did so well last week at where were we? Anyone remind me? Oh, we were at Hungary, weren't we, of course. So we're down to Aqua Minerali, and it looks like Wilkenow has got a good run here. He's pulling out on Vermeulen, who's Jasmine, who usually is the class of the field, and he seems this week he's not quite got the car under him yet. It may be a case that he's waiting for the tyre temperature to come up. You can see them ride the curves there through Variante Alta, and it's back down the hill to the Ravazza, two left-handers. There's quite a difficult set of corners. As you come, you swing right there, and then you're hard on the brakes, and then you're trying to get the car stopped for this very tight left-hander, and then immediately into another one, and then you're back out onto the start-finish straight. And with the modifications this track has had in the last few years, where there used to be a chicane here, it's now one great long straight. So hopefully that will give us a great opportunity for overtakes a little bit later on in the race. So let's have a quick look down the field. Definitely Wilkenow is stretching his way out there at the front, and that's Nick Raymond, and he's got 1.5 seconds already on Jasmine, who's Vermeulen, in second place. Patrick does seem to be getting quite a lot of attention from Boy Racer in 4. Now, he had quite a good run last time, and was leading the race at Hungaroring up to about 10 minutes to go, and unfortunately had a little half spin and dropped down to third. And that's his race name is Boy Racer, but his real name is actually Ben McCluskey, and he was on for a good result there and would have actually been leading the championship. So let's have a quick look what else we've got going on. What other tight battles have we got in the middle of the field? We're just waiting for my co-commentator to join us. That's Daxy Man, and so then we'll be able to move around the field and see what's actually happening. Now, just looking in fifth, there's Michael there, who was in, I believe, third position at the last round, but just at the first corner outbraked himself a little bit and turned Jasmine Vermeulen round. And the downside of that was that put Jasmine to the back of the field, but with a cracking drive he came all the way through to second last time, which was a hell of a result for him, considering where he was and how difficult it is to overtake at the Hungaroring. So let's have a look. Are you there, Daxy?
I'm getting there, my man, I'm getting there. My fingers are going faster than my mind can think.
Wow, let me give you a quick update. Out front is Wilkenow, who's Nick Raymond. He was in second place at the start, but has put in a cracking start, and he's got about a second and a half under his belt now over Jasmine Vermeulen. And Patrick's in third, but he's getting quite a bit of attention from Boy Racer. So if you want to have a look up front there, do you want me to whiz down and just see if I can pick out what's happening? Because it looks like Coco SBR is getting quite cosy up with Cuba Lads back down in 8th place. So let's have a look, see if we can pick out anything else that's happening, anything a little bit different and people out of position. It looks fairly much as we would expect at the moment. Of course, one guy we've got missing this week is F1 Gazza, who's Gary Williams, who unfortunately can't make the race this week. So he's currently running second in the championship. So that's going to give quite a dent, because he's had a couple of good results. He won the last round out, and he was fourth in the first round. So he's in quite a good position at the moment. So that he's really going to take a knock, depending on what obviously happens with the guys behind him, and the peoples like Sean Cool and Coco, who's Corkery Coleman. They're the guys you can see will benefit from their attention, shall we say. How's it going there, Daxy? Are we up and running at your end?
We are up and running. I'm just sharing to particular groups. I'm doing the old social media side. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen. I am going to be in and annoying the living bejesus out of you just shortly.
Good, that's what I like to hear. I wonder if are you annoying me or the general public that are watching? I'm never sure which.
I think a bit of both. You know, as long as I'm annoying someone, I'm going that way. We've already got one guy in our live chat. Hi, TV Chirpic, how you doing? How come we don't start the quali? Well, unfortunately, due to ACC just being horribly mean and really buggy on the PS4 and Xbox, basically on consoles, between the races, between qualifying and the race, and also between practice and the main race, in the countdown period there, when it stops that countdown period, the actual menu and everything freezes on the screen, and if you try and do anything, the actual game then crashes, and that will obviously then end the broadcast as well. So the only workaround we do have for that, unfortunately, is trying to start it on the formation lap of the race. So that's why we do that. We would love to, otherwise, you know, we just don't want to show up, do we?
Well, no, and as you said before, it's a bit of alchemy really with this game, isn't it, to try and actually get it just to physically work. So as much as we'd love to do the whole free practice, qualifying and race, it's just too risky, and we nearly had a little glitch tonight, but we managed just to scrape our way in as the race started.
Indeed.
So,
right.
Are you with me, Daxy?
I am now with you. You've got my full divided attention. Okay,
well, I think maybe the first place to look is third and fourth. Boy races on Patrick. And he's been there quite tight for a couple of laps. So, and they're coming down the main straight now. So, I think there's a fair chance that he may be starting to look. He can't quite get that Mercedes up behind Patrick at the moment, but with that long straight, there's a fair chance. You know, if he can get close out of the Ravazza corner, he might be able to pull something on him. Because Patrick, I can't remember exactly where he finished last week, but that was his first race, wasn't it, at Hungaroring? And he did quite a stunning job there, and he's certainly making his presence felt this week.
He did a really good job last week. One guy in the chat, TV Chirpek, is a fan of Patrick, telling him to go, which we like. He's under a lot of pressure there. One boy racks are behind him, but nice to see the McLaren of Nick. Well, we've got him down here as Will Nico, but also
Nick Raymond.
That's the one. He in first position, doing really well to start off there. Hopefully, this time, this race, he's not going to have too many issues with the out of bound, out of limits, and then getting some drive-throughs due to that. Bear me a second.
And he's really made a break from Jazzman Vermeulen there this race as well. It was all very tight last time out, and it's interesting that he's been able to make that break, and we're only 4 laps in and he's already 2.3 seconds up the road.
He is fast. There's no denying he is fast in that McLaren, but again, it's trying to keep it neat on these tracks. ACC will punish you for just, you know, starting to be a bit leery, so you've got to keep within these limits.
And this track particularly, I don't know how much racing you've done here, Daxy, but what I found with it, and I got caught out on a race I did here a couple of weeks ago, that the curbs, the first part of them are quite friendly, but particularly as you're coming down to Tamburello and Villeneuve, there's a second sleeping policeman. You might be able to see it. There you go, just at the crest of the curb. But you catch them wrong, you're straight off to Narnia. And I had a bit of an incident coming down here to Villeneuve, where I just caught on it and fired myself straight off into the wall. So you can ride them. Yeah, sorry. I just caught them the combination of the wrong angle and too hard. So
yeah, those seems to be Italian tracks are known for that. The same with Misano. You got that first little left-right set up on that track there. Absolutely fine to go a bit curb heavy on that, but then you've got a couple of corners after that if you just push too wide, you will catch those sleeping policemen, and they will just send you, like you say, to the shadow realm, and off you merrily pop.
Right, well, just have we had a little bit of a change around here, because Boy Racer was on Patrick really close, wasn't he? And he's now 2.5 seconds back. So I think he must have made a mistake somewhere along the line.
Did.
Maybe he had a try to get by and failed.
He did. When we were saying about those sleeping policemen, he did just take a little push too hard off one of the corners and went into the gravel trap. Let's go down the pack here and see what else we've got going on. Just going to jump on board with Will Freeman here. Q Borles getting quite close to him. Well, I say quite close. He's 0.8 of a second behind him here, and looks to be closing in that Lexus.
Yeah, they're very close, those two there. It might be worth us just covering that tonight it's a 60-minute race, and there will be a pit stop, which you can look down the left-hand side at all the race names down the left-hand side. You see an orange number with a 1 on it. That will change green once they've complied with their compulsory pit stop. The other factor we've got to come to play tonight is that even though it's only 60 minutes, the time is moving approximately 5 times quicker than normal. Now this means that as the evening goes, or the day goes on, the temperature will drop. So the drivers will end up combating changing grip conditions, because what's ideal now, I think it's the idea of being about 2 p.m, come 7 p.m. this evening, won't be quite so good in the setup they've got now. So it'll depend. It'll be interesting to see whether they've managed to work a setup of tyres at the pit stop, which will get them to cover that problem.
All right, that's something that definitely needs to factor in. So I was just looking down the list there, and I did see that Adam Piper, new to the league this week, has just made a move on Gaga Tacos.
That's
Alex.
put in 16th, is it?
Yeah, that's Adam Piper against Piper against Alex there, and he's made that manoeuvre. I'm going to quickly shift up the pack here and have a quick look to see what else is going on. Well,
I'm watching Coleman Corkery on Whirble. I've got that wrong, I'm quite sure. Oh, that's Mac Attack. He just took a rather lot curb at Ferrari Alpha, because he was right up behind the other Lexus. He's now dropped back a bit, but he's still only, well, we'll see when they go across the finishing line, but it looks to be less than half a second, so they're quite tight there. So at the moment, that only seems to be the main battle going on. The other thing I've noticed is Jasvan Vermeulen is actually little by little catching back up with Wilkino up front.
Does seem to be the case. Fortunately, the game does let us down here with the split times only coming in when they're getting round particular parts of the track and not a live updated time for us on the spectator mode, but makes it a bit more difficult to sort of quickly try and jump into where the action is. I'm going to go down the map here to look at the bottom here. NL Racer 85 is quite close. Here we are with the two Ferraris of Big Inny and NL Racer, which are white. White and Jur against each other. Portuguese there against the man from the Netherlands, and they have a look to see if they can take on that Porsche at the same time. There's all three going on. Don't know if you can see this as well, but down in 16th and 17th and 18th is where the action.
Well, I hadn't caught that one, but I can see that's really close. But the other one I was just keeping an eye on was 9th and 10th with Ben Milden and Steam Gaming, who are quite close. Steam Gaming's been on his rear bumper of Ben Milden for a few laps now.
Versus the league owner. This is going to be an interesting one.
Wow, that was, you know, is there some negotiation going on, you know, sponsor rights and so on? You know, whether or not you'll let him through. I was wondering whether that kind of negotiation was going on between the cars.
Niceties stay off the track, I tell you. Friends on the track, friends off the track.
But I don't disagree. But obviously, the money greases the wheels, doesn't it?
This is the facts. This is the true facts. Right, oh dear, someone's just taken a little off there, and that was NL Racer did manage to just take a little off there. I don't know if he went round that corner a bit too hard, and Big Inny has managed to take full advantage of that and is now up into. Why isn't it updated into 17th position? There we go at last. He's all over the back of him.
But I think the other great thing to notice is we've nearly got 45 minutes, or we've got over 40. Go.
Sorry. Big Eddie just fell victim to one of your sleeping policemen that you were just saying, and now he's just dropped back into 18th again. NL Racing, good second gap now because of that. I'm going to shift back up the map here to
they are horrendous, aren't they? But isn't it great? We've got 45 minutes left to go, and we've still got 20 cars in the race. So and we're coming into the pit window as well. So hopefully this is really going to shuffle things up, because what we don't know with all this curb running that people are doing is how much damage they picked up and how much time that'll add to their pit stop.
Well,
so it's interesting.
Sorry, well, it's down to their discretion if they want to take that as well, I suppose. I know if there is if there's like a couple of seconds, is it worth just doing that couple of seconds? If it's a bit more than that and you're not really feeling it, do you just go to hell with it and just continue and make it as quick as possible? You know,
I think I would do exactly that. A couple of seconds. If you've got something that's 10, 15 seconds, it's probably affecting your lap time. So that could come back to haunt you with slower lap times later in the race. Whereas if you've got just a couple of seconds, it's obviously minimal damage. But that 2 seconds on track could mean 1 or 2 positions, particularly when all the cars are running as close as they are.
This is it. And you know what? They are. They're not really getting that spread out as of yet so far. They are only keeping between a second to 2 seconds in between them. There's only a few gaps getting up to about 5 seconds around this map here, so it's keeping pretty tight around Imola tonight.
And as we mentioned, we have got a couple of cars in the pits. Flying Spray. Now, didn't we work out that was Ryan Day? He's in the pits at the moment. In his Porsche, he's just trundling down back out onto track. So he's gone green, so he won't have to pit again. So I would imagine he's probably fueled to the end. So it'll be interesting to see where that shakes him out. And Mufju, who I think is Matthew Kazidla, who's actually 4th in the championship in the Bentley. He's in the pit lane at the moment, so that's going to bring him out 19th, because I think Ryan Day is actually a lap behind. But that's going to have a bit of factor on the championship, particularly as today was the day he could have made a lot of time and points up on Gazza Williams. Wow. And he's just rolling down the pit lane now, but he has lost a lap, so he's going to see those blue flags, and he's going to be need to move out of the way, so that's going to cost him time as well.
Is it all for the tactic though? Is it dive in early and stretch out that gap for when they inevitably jump in themselves?
Well, yes, but you're coming right out in traffic. He's coming out just behind Ben Milden, and he's already having to move over and let somebody by. Obviously, his tyres aren't up to temperature, and it's just going to cost him time. So I think that's maybe he picked up some damage, decided to fix it, and has decided to take that early pit stop, load up with fuel and go to the end. But he's going to have a heavy car now that's going to cost him lap time, and at the end of the race he's going to have worn tyres. I think it's a bamboo. I don't think it's going to. If he makes top 10, I think he's going to do well.
We'll see how he gets on. Can never write anyone off in this league. That's the problem.
That's a prediction for somebody in the comments to battle with me a bit later on. But I reckon if he breaks in the top 10, I think that's him doing well. But we'll see how it shakes out.
Yeah. I'm currently still watching the battle between Ben Milden here and Extreme Gaming of Koto. Do you know I don't have the first names of the drivers here. I've only got their surnames, so I don't know if you know their first names at all.
Well, you see, this is where. So all your technology with your laptop, Daxi, that's not really helping here, is it?
No, possibly.
Oh, Steam Gaming on Ben Milden down into Ravazza.
Really tight.
No, can't make it work. Can't make it work. It's so difficult because you've got that little right-hand king that unsettles the car. But as he got, no, he's not. I don't think he's close enough to have a go down the straight. So, sorry, whose first name were you looking for off my paper?
I was looking for the first name of Stunex Gamer. I can obviously see his surname is Koto.
Julian.
Is it Julian? Is it Julian Koto?
Julian, yes.
Okay. Where did you get
just
all these names?
Well, because I kept my paperwork from last week, so I don't throw anything away. So it's all right having all this technology you've got there, but my bits of paper here, you see, track maps, information about the circuit, all that kind of thing. It's all here. I don't have to rely on the internet or hard drives or interwebbery or whatever tricks you have. Oh, I think Julian Steamex has just outbraked himself into the Tosa hairpin. I think if he hadn't have gone wide there, I think he might have taken Ben with him.
Oh, really?
So yeah, it was a bit of a last minute. I'm a bit late on the brakes, but he got away with it.
Sean Paul is in the background, slowly trying to wind these guys in. It's dropped down from 1.7 to 1.1 seconds difference. The teammate of Ben Milden, also in the Aston Martin, Team SBR, starting to sandwich up on Koto here, Julian Koto, and yeah, you're right. Julian's definitely got the speed through some of these corners compared to this Aston, and he's got a great manoeuvre up on the right hand side.
Has he got it? I think he's got it. No, that'll be a brave move. He can get around the outside there. So this is bringing Sean Cole into play, isn't it?
Yes, it has. Unfortunately, I don't know if your ACC is showing you a different angle round that top toaster coat.
No, that's Rabata.
Is that Tosa? Tusa? Do you pronounce it?
Tosa.
Tosa.
Don't.
I was going to say another word.
Yeah, whatever you do, don't say Tosa.
Oh, okay, right. But yeah, no, the angle on that, you just can't see it. Just sometimes, for some reason, zooms into the guy's driver window, and you could literally just see the driver names on the side of the car, and that's it. You can't see anything else after that. So that's a bit annoying there going into that corner.
Sean's having a look. He's got him. He's pushed Steamex out wide.
But it's going to be drag now. Drag down.
Yeah,
to
but
that
he's got the inside line for Piratella up the top there, isn't he? I think he can make that work. You can run wide on this corner, but no, Steamex has gone for the safer option and let him go. Now, what I would do if I was Steamex, I'd hang on to the back of Sean, and hopefully he's going to smash a hole through Ben, and that will leave a gap for Steamex to slide through where he hasn't been able to so far. But do you know Sean and Ben better than I do? Do you think they'll work together and just... Will Ben let Sean by, or will they work together as a pair in some way? What do you think?
I'll be honest with you, I've only seen them in the same area when it came close to the end of the first race at Misano, and at that point there was no other advantages apart from just race each other. So they went for it, and they just raced each other and had good fun doing so. I don't know if that may then change. Now it being only, not even halfway through this race yet, not even getting up to just under the 40-minute mark left of this race, so they could well try and help each other out. Again, this game, I know it does have some form of slipstream, but it's not really a major factor like some of the other games, like GT Sport, where it's very OP, and you can just sit behind someone and all of a sudden you just get completely catapulted in front of them if you play it right. So it may be a case of just hold on to the back ends of each other for the time being, and seeing if they can make spaces. Because I'm guessing then if they're going to work together as a team, it's going to be better to score more points together as a team.
Yeah, I'll just have a quick look, see how they're doing in the team's championship. They're second at the moment. But it's interesting, Gazza Williams and Vermeulen, and obviously Gazza's not here this week. They're way out in front at the moment, but this will give Ben and Sean, who are currently in second place, a chance to pull away, because they're on 43 points, and the next three guys behind them, or the next three teams, behind them, are all on 42. So this should give them a chance to bank some points and get away. But where Jazzman Vermeulen is, that he's easily going to still have the championship lead in the teams as well.
So I'm just keeping on board here with Ben Milden and Sean is slowly starting to reel him in, He's dropped down from a second to 0.8 of a second. So when we come across the finish now, I reckon it could be just under.
It's interesting, the Steamex Gaming, since Sean got by him, has dropped right off that pair of cars. It was interesting. We almost felt like Ben was holding him up. He's now suddenly dropped away quite rapidly at the back there.
See, I don't know what's happened. I saw him going over. I don't know if he's maybe not set up the dampers very well for this. If we try and get on board here with Stream Gaming, because when I saw him earlier, I just saw, I don't know if he needed to make those dampers just a bit softer, especially when you could potentially be hitting some of those sleeping policemen to try and get those extra seconds round there. You know, the McLaren is a fast car, but it's not the most agile in this series. So you really want to be able to, if you're going to have stuff like sleeping policemen there, and then you know, you want to be able to make sure your car's not going to get too unsettled by going over those. He just seems a bit unsettled when he needs to be aggressive in those corners there. See.
Well, I think we may have the first dominoes starting to happen with the pit stops. I noticed Tom Preset's gone in and he's currently showing as 17th. So we've got 34 minutes left. So they must be starting to think it's time to decide where I'm going to put my pit stop. And obviously it depends how much fuel they put in the car at the start as to how long they can push it into the race. Because I always tend to go fairly easy and have nothing more than about 35 minutes worth of racing time fuel-wise in my car. So I don't want to carry that extra weight round.
Yeah, I got a bit schooled with the whole.
Vermeulen's in the pit. Sorry to cut across you, Jazzman. Sorry, Daxi. I'm looking at the Jazzman and talking to Daxi. Vermeulen's in the pit, so exactly as I predicted. The dominoes have started to fall, and Sean Calls followed in as well. Sorry, back to you.
No. Trying to keep up with what's going on here. I'm going to get back on board with our race leader just at the moment.
Be interesting to see where Jazzman feeds out here.
Will do. Let's see. He's stop straight. I don't know how long it will take to get round the. What average times we're looking round on these laps at the moment is the question.
Do you know, in all my bits I haven't got the laptop, because usually Jazzman Vermeulen's rolling down the pit lane, so he's coming back out somewhere around about 11th, I think. Depends when it all tallies up. I can't quite see who he's come out behind, but he's got the first roll of the dice. So because it's interesting up front, really, it's only Wilkino who is Wilkino. Nick Raymond.
Oh yeah, he's coming in now. He's now coming in for his pit.
Is he? Interesting. Yep. Okay. Do you want to stick on track with Jazzman Vermeulen, and I'll go to the pits?
Go for it. Bear me 2 seconds.
Yeah, he's trundling down the pit lane, lights flashing away at the back to show that he's got the pit limiter in place. He's got it stuck in first gear. It's bouncing off that rear limit as it goes down the pit lane. He's rolling into his pit box, which is something I've never got very good at, and looks like he's got it dead straight, and it's up on the jacks. So let's see how long he's stuck here, because it was 32.10 to go. Sorry, 32.15 roughly to go, so he should be away. Whereabouts is Jazzman Vermeulen?
He's coming up to the chicane of Montriolta.
Coleman Corkery in. They're all in the pits now. Will Freeman's in the pit. Ben Milden's in the pits. Steamex Gaming's in the pits.
Well,
and Wilkino is rolling. He's out of his pits box. He's just trundling by the VIP hospitality. There's a little bit of a run out of the pit lane here before you get to the pit limiter. He's just about to cross the pit limit speed now, and his foot's down. And I can't see Jazzman Vermeulen anywhere.
He is literally about 2 seconds behind him, coming down the start-stop straight now as we speak.
He's into the first corner already.
Yeah, he's.
I think it's more than 2 seconds.
Oh, it's definitely more than 2 seconds.
Yeah, so I would imagine there was some damage there came into play there for Jazzman Vermeulen.
Possibly so. I didn't think he was. I didn't think he managed to pick up anything, but maybe he did.
It all seemed fairly tidy from what I saw at the start. Obviously, I couldn't jump around too much, but it did seem fairly tidy. Patrick's gone for the pits as well. So the only one left out front there of the real front runners was Boy Racer. Now he's now taken the lead, so it might be interesting to see how long he decides to stick it out to work out whether he can hold on for a later stop and have better grip at the end, because he's adjusted his tyre pressures to suit the cooler temperatures.
Possibly so. It wouldn't be a silly thing to do. It will definitely give him more advantage. You know, again, I wouldn't have thought there'd be a massive drastic drop. It'd just be drop maybe 1 or 2 degrees. But with that, that is going to affect it. That's going to change. You know, if you've got an ideal window of between 27.7 to 27.4, that's what you sort of want to be aiming for. And it drops down to like the low 27s. You want to make sure you pump it back up there, because you just get that little bit of slip start to happen when you're trying to push around corners. You're not going to be able to feel as confident pushing as you would normally do. This is what you just don't want to feel that. It's all down to the settings that our guys have then set up on SBR for all the stuff here. I have done other leagues where when you've gone in to do refueling is an additional time on top of whatever you're actually getting done as your tyre change as well. This is not the case on this one. Refueling, I don't think it adds any additional time to it, which is quite good. It keeps it quite nice and competitive and fast in this league. So yeah, it's the strategy can really shake up this league, very much so.
And our racer's spun it around and he's put it into the wall, just coming out of Tosa. He was just being caught up by Wickeno, who's Wiki Nico even, who's the de facto race leader, and I think he was just trying to hold him off because it was technically a race to a position, and he just ran wide onto the grass on the exit. Unfortunately, kept his foot in it. The back came round, and as soon as it was back on the tarmac, it fired him across straight into the wall. So I imagine he's going to be heading back to the pits now. That was NL Racer was the one that spun out there. He hasn't taken his pit stop yet, so that may not be too painful for him. I noticed both Boy Racer and Michael are in the pits.
Absolutely battered that Ferrari. Right, let's get back on board here. See how we're getting on. There was a little fight that I was keeping on board here with Preset and Cool.
Oh, they're quite close, aren't they? Under a second.
Yeah, it has stretched a little bit. It was just about half a second, but Preset pulling away here. Bentley, I don't know. Have you driven the Bentley much? I've driven it a little bit, and it feels very safe. You feel safe driving it. I don't know if it's the dampers on it, but you know you can push quite.
I don't
hard
know, but just while you're there, look, go to Boy Racer and Michael JC coming out the pits. They're bumper to bumper. I don't think there was a gap between them, and they're right on each other. So as they get the tyres warm, this could be quite lively, I think, because of the temperatures. Patrick's gone through in front of them, so I think this is almost, apart from Giotto's 100, who is he's now pitted. The leaders have almost shaken out after their pit stops. But I can't remember what the order was before they went into the pits with Boy Racer and Michael. But they've come out remarkably close together, and it'll be interesting to see who can get their tyres up to temperature first, because this is going to be the tricky time, because despite the fact they're preheated, when they come out they're still not up to full track temperature, and also as a driver you're trying to feel where that grip is compared to where it was before.
Yeah. The benefit of that Mercedes over that Ferrari is that you've got that front splitter. The front splitter, as they call it. It should be called the front splitter, but for some reason my mouth said front splitter. But they've got the benefit of that just to I suppose aid and assist with that lower track temperatures or lower tyre temperature or pressure, and help just point that nose in where it needs to be, where the Ferrari is a bit more of the alchemy of understeer, just pushing it through. Again, can ruin the tyres too quickly, and he is seeming to increase that gap from Michael at the moment.
We've got a couple of penalties I've just seen come in. Not that it's going to affect the front end of the race, but both NL Racer and Big Yin have picked up stop and go 30 seconds. Now, I'd imagine that's for speeding in the pit lane. And the other good thing is we're 25 minutes to go, and we still have 19 cars. I can't notice who we've actually lost.
We have lost someone. It's just been said in the YouTube chat. Thank you very much again to Churapek for saying that. Unfortunately, Matthew, PCR Matthew, or as we know him as, wait a second, I'm trying to find his name on here. That's it. Kaditzler. Matthew Kaditzler.
In your own time.
Thank you. I'm tripping over words tonight. It's absolutely horrendous. But unfortunately, it seems like he's had a blue screen. and he's
oh no,
he's left us. So yeah, ACC Gremlins coming back in again. If anyone from ACC ever does listen to this, please, please, please get the console version down. You will have such a bigger client base. It's already become quite a dedicated game in its own right.
But on the other side, I was just an open lobby, which I know they're a dangerous beast to tackle with. I went into an open lobby the other night at Spa, and I think I was running 5th or 6th, and it was quite a good sort of tight pack at the front. And it was the first lap, and I just misjudged my braking into the bus stop chicane. And I thought, so I dived to the inside to try and, you know, reduce the collateral damage. And literally, it was the shut your eyes moment. I disconnected. I couldn't believe me luck. And
really?
It escaped me from a moment of complete shame of T-boning the guy in about third, because I was frantically trying to, you know, reduce the damage I was going to do. And I suddenly got the blue screen. And it's not often that you get a blue screen and you're quite relieved. But that was one of the occasions.
This is a very fair point. I'm going to jump back on here with Q Barles.
Oh yeah, Coleman Corkery, he looks like he's quite close there.
Getting close to, yeah, Callum Corkery getting close to attack here. And unfortunately, for looks of it, back at the back end here, we've got NL Racer 685 and Big Innie having to take a 30-second stop-go penalty. I don't know what for. I don't know if that was speeding in the pit lane or
I think it was. Yeah, I did pick on that score. I think that was speeding in the pit lane.
That's gonna definitely affect them there. So they're going to be battling out the back of the field here. But yeah, no, ACC does have some funny gremlins. I think one of the most memorable ones myself was a server blue screened itself. And while we were driving, so all of a sudden you're driving along and you've just come out of the first, first sector of corners at the Harang ring, not Harang, the
orangutan.
Sorry, I do apologise. Didn't say it's not Hockenheim. Oh my days, what is it?
Nürburgring?
Nürburgring, that's the one. Sorry,
yeah.
Why I said Hockenheim. That's not a German track on this game. It is a German track, but not on this game. And yeah, you come out the first section, that first little technical section just after the hairpin, going down, and literally as they start to dip down the hill, all of a sudden the cars literally just started flying off up into the air from the corner, and I was just, what the heck is going on? And then obviously the serve then crashed. So if you do see any funny ACC moments, spectacular moments of cars just all of a sudden taking off like Santa Claus and drifting off into Neverland, it's just before when someone's been recording and the service just all of a sudden just died on them mid-race. It's quite amusing.
Just a little update on our two guys at the back there that had the penalties. Big Yin, I think, has decided to call it a day because that would have put him, I think, to the back. Oh, and NL Racer, as we talk about one, track limits, I think it just showed through for NL Racer, and he's put him back into the pit, so his race is over.
Oh,
so that it's shown him as disqualified, so that's the end of his day, I'm afraid.
Well, down to 17 now from 20.
Well, that's still, yeah, I was thinking it's still a good number they're sticking in there with nearly 2/3 of the way through the race. They have spread out a little bit, maybe a little quiet point. Just remember that, obviously, the two motorsport characters that we've lost this week, one of which was the iconic Murray Walker, which for me is, you know, as Formula One developed and British touring cars and motorcycle racing, he was just the voice. And we all took a little bit of a prod at Murray, didn't we, for his mistakes and Murrayisms. But when you read up about the guy, and I've read his autobiography, the time and effort he put in to preparing for commentaries. I know we sort of joke at each other a little bit about how I'm sat here with all my bits of paper, but that's really inspired by Murray. I saw pictures of him in his commentary box, and when he did those things about saying, oh, it's so-and-so's 50th race, and their first race was such and such, and they've had X number of fastest laps. This was all stuff he wrote down on bits of paper and had stuck all around the commentary box. Yeah, and apparently he was quite selfish at not letting James Hunt see any of it, because James used to roll up with a bottle of wine 2 minutes before the start of the race.
Yeah, there was. I did watch a documentary about him quite recently, just before, unfortunately, his untimely demise. and yeah, you're right. His working with James Hunt was a bit of a love-hate. You know, James was just suave, roll in with the bottle of wine, still completely half cut, and wanted to do the job. And Murray just, you know, was annoyed that not enough effort was maybe put in by his good self. But you're right, he is a man who, as he said in his documentary, he went out every Sunday with his wife, a little camping stove in the car, and they would just go out every weekend to different tracks around the country to do any form of commentary on any form of motorsport he could. For me, he was the voice of motorsport when I was growing up as a kid watching TV. You know, he just gave you that energy. He made you feel what it was like in that car while they were racing around, put you in that driver's seat. Feel, you know how excited that driver could possibly be for whatever mistake was made by the driver ahead of him, or the annoyance, etc. But he really was, to me, he was, when he left Formula One, I personally think the commentary was never ever as good. No offence to Eddie or David or any others that went in his place, but you know, Murray did bring absolute energy to any commentary that he was doing. Will be sorely missed. Along also with another great.
Oh, before you move on to Sabine, I did promise Ben Milden my Murray Walker story.
Oh, go on then. I'm up for this.
But the other thing, just before I bore everybody to death with my 90 seconds of Murray Walkerism, Boy Racer is on Patrick's at the moment. This is a battle for the last place in the podium, and it looks quite tight. So, shall we concentrate on this for a couple of minutes, and then we can hop back? We better remember there's a race on the go while we're entertaining everybody who's sat at home. But Boy Racer's been winding doing. It's interesting that when they came out of the pits, Michael was right behind Boy Racer, but he's dropped away and now sort of over 3.5 seconds back up the track. And this definitely seems to be where the battle's going to be. They've all completed the pit stop, so this is a race to the flag.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh. That Mercedes all over the back of that Ferrari. The Ferrari taking that chicane a bit bad over the sleeping policeman there, not having the legs coming out of there. And
Boy Race is trying to go around the outside. That's never going to work round Ravazza there. It's just too narrow.
Go maximum attack.
Yeah, I would say it's better to try and line it up through Ravazza, not waste your effort trying to make an overtake work there, but line it up so you've got a good exit. Use all that exit curve, which you can do without penalty, and then do exactly what he's doing and get right under that rear wing. Now Patrick's going very defensive. I think he's going to go for it here, Boy Racer. No. Can't quite make it stick around the outside there.
Nice.
I think. Go on.
Nice. Sorry, I was just enjoying that late braking by Patrycka there, just making sure he held that inside line. I did worry that due to that he may not have the legs or get the switchback done on him by Boy Racer behind him, but he's doing a really good defensive line against that Mercedes, which seems to be defeating Ferraris left, right and centre, at least on this track today so far.
And he's put a little bit of air between him and Boy Racer as well. When they come down the main straight there, they were really tight. But after that, those two sort of what I'd call chicanes at Tamburello and Villeneuve, he's dropped back a bit. It'll be interesting to see whether through these Acqua Minerale and up to Variante Alta, he can make that time back up, because this is where he was very close a lap or so ago. So I wonder if he made a mistake there. And that's why Boy Racer was able to catch up so much.
Possibly so. Boy Racer now making a mistake on that last corner, pushing too wide, and he's dropped definitely more than a second, maybe second and a half behind. I'm going to pronounce, I believe is it Lupka? The actual surname of Patrycka there.
Or Lupa or Lipka, I think. Patrick
is
Lipka.
It Lipka?
Yeah.
Lipka.
I'm sure he'll correct us at a later date. Just a quick shout out while we're looking down the front runners. Will Freeman's putting in a great performance there. His best result so far has been an 8th at Hungary, so he's up there in 6th. So I think he shook through there in the pit stop. So he's doing a cracking job there, and he's not too far behind Michael for 5th place there. So he could be on for a cracking result.
Will is actually not a bad driver. He's just had a bit of unfortunate light shine on him, especially on the first race at Milano. He suffered something similar to Jazzman, but got knocked to the very back and just couldn't recover from it due to damage, and then having to pit afterwards on the first race. And then, like you say, last week was only sort of mid-pack battling, so it was good to see him get up into potentially the top maybe 5 if he manages to catch up here. Well, he's not too far off Michael himself. Or was it a point? Oh, about a second off.
Yeah, he's just dropped back a little bit there. But I was just casting my eye across what happened at Hungary, and it's interesting. We've got Wiki Nico, who's Nick Raymond, who's out there in front. Last time out, it was a DNF. So had he been able to put a result in there, he'd have been in a lot different place when I've got the abacus out to total up, see where we are in the championship, because he's only on 17 points at the moment, and Jazzman Vermeulen, he's up on 48. So it's going to bring him back into play, but it's not going to make a massive amount of difference as we see Boy Racer back on Patrick's.
These two really battling for it. I think one of the two best liveries in this league. I'm going to say personally myself, love that sort of orange gold of the Ferrari from Patrick's, as well as that electric blue from Boy Raxa. Boy Raxa all over the back of him here. The quick left right through those corners. I want to see where he can make that manoeuvre. Possibly looking on the inside down here. No, doesn't want to risk it. He wants to go for a sure pass.
I think he's doing that. Show yourself in the mirrors of that bright blue car. It's probably shining quite bright in the mirrors of that Ferrari in front. He seems to be just. I can't see quite a lot of these manoeuvres where he's showing his nose. I can't see he can actually make that stick. So it'll be interesting to see, whether he can force Patrick's into a mistake. Because I think that's the strategy he seems to be going for, because they seem to be very evenly balanced.
I seem to think it's the corner which seems to be unsettling them. Is that is it the Variante Alta? I can never pronounce it.
Variante Alta, yeah. This one they're coming up to now.
Yeah, it's the sausage curbs that they seem to be riding here, and it leaves them a bit unsettled. So
it's a bit nasty, really that one.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I find the one on the right, you take that right-hander, you seem to be able to ride that, and it's like a magic carpet. But that left-hand one, it's a real nasty curb, just the angle you seem to catch it. And then what happens is that the second part of the problem is that when you hit that one, it bounces you wide, and then there's more of those Sleaton policemen on the outside. So you get the first kick on the apex, and then you get the second kick on the exit. And I've lost places down there because I've been bouncing around in the air and not had my tyres on the tarmac driving me forward. Oh!
He's trying to spook him. He's giving him a 1-2, trying to freak him out. As they come
Patrick went quite deep there. Really, I think he's lost a bit of momentum on the exit.
Really close.
It's going to have to be a brave move to do it down here, but he's looking. No, he can't make it stick. We could do with a ballast set up on these cars, couldn't we? Break it up between each races and bring those fast guys back into the pack.
Yeah.
Which, speaking of which, just getting an eye on it, Jazzman Vermeulen was 5 seconds behind Wiki Nico a few laps back. He's now only 2.5 seconds. So maybe we could be on for a grandstand finish up the front there.
10, just over 10 minutes left. Well, 11 minutes left of this race. So it could happen. It may happen. It can be very. This is it. This is GT racing. It's not the same as GT Sport, where OP slipstreams can really change up a race. So if it's only 20 minutes long, it's still full of action. These are realistic races where you've got to work and try and work out everything.
Oh, he's got him! He's got him!
Brilliant manoeuvre by Boy Raxter there. Beautifully taken.
Got him on the exit of Variante Alta. It's just as we were talking about it the lap before. It's almost like we knew what we were talking about.
I tell you, they employ us for. I don't know why they employ us, obviously.
No, nor do I.
But no, yeah, that was a really good manoeuvre. That chicane again. Those curbs on that chicane can really change it. You've got to make sure you've got the soft suspension. You've got to make sure you've got the good rebounded, fast rebound settings for that. You can then chew those corners corners up instead of having to take them easy and feather over them. As you can see, that Mercedes just completely, really get on board with Boy Raxer here, as he's able to just chew on those bits of curb without any fear.
It's just something, you just catch them slightly at the wrong angle, or particularly that field there, one there. If you go around that left-hander and you've got it slightly wrong and you're trying to scrabble it all back to get it around the right-hander, you just hit those sleeping policemen at slightly wrong angle, and you're straight out into the gravel before you know anything about it, because your wheels aren't on the tarmac, and you can wheel that steering wheel all you want, but you're going straight to the scene of the accident. So, do you want me to just jump back to my Murray Walker story?
Go for it.
Well, a few years ago, I'll say a few years ago, I can actually date this because it involves Michael Schumacher. Now, I'm not, that sounds like I'm name dropping, but I'm not. So it must have been about 2011, and I managed to get tickets to a Murray Walker evening at Bobbington Tank Museum. Now, this is quite significant for Murray because this is where he did his training during the war, because he was a tank commander and followed the troops across after D-Day and worked his way across Europe. So he had quite a lot of memories about the place. And we had the usual sort of half-an-hour chat about things in Formula One and, you know, all the good after-dinner speaker you would expect from Murray. And then it was open to questions. So, and I was sat there and I wasn't really going to bother asking anything because there was probably, I don't know, 200 people there. It was quite a popular evening, and there was all the usual boring questions about, you know, who's going to win this year's championship, and, you know, who's the greatest of all time, and then he gives you the standard answer saying you can't compare like Jim Clark to Fangio to Senna and so on.
Yeah.
I thought, I know what I can do to get him going. And I was with a group of friends, and they all, I can't think why, sort of had their head in their hands as they as I got the microphone. And what I asked was this was when Michael Schumacher had made his comeback with Mercedes, and I said, do you think it's spoiled Michael Schumacher's legacy coming back into, you know, a Formula One car and being uncompetitive? Oh boy, it was like being told off by the headmaster.
Really?
Yeah, I knew Murray was a Schumacher fan, and he went on a rant about, you know, he enjoys his racing, he's a Formula One enthusiast, so why shouldn't he do it? And no, it won't affect his legacy. That was a real clip round the ear, and told, you know, to go and stand in the corner. And there was all my friends beside me trying to slide under the chairs in front. So yeah, that was yes, that was as exciting as my Murray Walker stories get. But I just sat there and I thought, no, I know what will get him going, because it was they were all fairly boring sort of questions, and I thought, now I can liven this up.
So you got
now
telling off by Murray Walker.
I know that's a badge to wear, isn't it? And the other interesting thing, I only read it in, I think, Motorsport News today. He actually started as a regular commentator at age 54 with Grand Prix. So me at 52, I've still got a chance there. So BBC, ITV, or anyone listening in, you know, I'll take Daxi along to carry me bags. You know, we can go for it.
Thank you very much.
Right, let's do what we're here to be not paid to be here for. Have you noticed that battle in 4th, 5th and 6th, which looks like it's going to go to the flag?
I've been watching this for the past few minutes here. I don't know what's happened to Patrick. He's dropped mega far down from Boy Raxter. I don't know if it's Boy Raxter managed to get a good bit of distance between the two, but there's a 4-second gap now between them, and they were battling out only a couple of laps ago themselves, and he's dropped back here. Michael definitely having to poke away, having a look up behind him, and with that, Will Freeman managing to catch up with him as well. So I don't know if it's possibly a fault with Patrick's car, or maybe he's just for some reason dropping on the lap times compared to what he is, but they're starting to bunch up behind him now.
And just as we've had, you know, it's been a great race, we've had a good evening, but it seems to be building up to crescendo, because up front, Jasper Vermeulen is only 1.2 seconds behind Wiki Nico, and he's now got it down to a second. So I'm just going to watch that, because this one isn't quite so close. So I'll keep you posted if you want to stick with the other guys for now.
I'll stick on board with Patrick at the moment, as he's managed to keep that half-second gap between him and Michael there, and then Freeman just that half-second gap between him and Michael as well. So it's basically waiting for someone to make a little bit of a boo-boo, and then either drivers start going to capitalise on it. But they are coming up to drivers. They are coming up to lapping drivers who are going to get blue flags. So hopefully they will be as courteous as they should be. If not, that's then going to start holding them up. The problem is, especially around these corners, it's hard to come off an apex line on a tight track like this to be able to give way to blue lines, blue flag.
You're doing a Murray now, aren't you?
I am.
But the other interesting thing is you can see that the shadows are starting to lengthen. As we said earlier, this race is, even though time-wise for us it's an hour, it's being stretched over a 5-hour time window for temperature. So is it a temperature issue that's coming into play, that as the sun's setting, the temperature's going down, and some people's setup are working better than others? That could be coming into play. Possibly
so. The Ferrari of Will Freeman, they're going to be cursing the Porsche of Coco, because
but that's the position.
He just pulled back in front. No, sorry, it's Coco Taco's. It's his. Alex, yeah, down in 15th, getting in the way of Will Freeman, and Will Freeman now have dropped back to over a second from these guys here. So unfortunately lost out here in these last couple of minutes. But you know, holding the 6th is still not a bad spot.
Yeah. Jazzman Vermeulen's got that gap down to about a second. Oh no, now he's got it down to 0.9. He took that last bit. He doesn't seem to be able to just bring it in that last little bit.
I'm gonna get back on board now with Nico and Jazzman for this last 3 minutes. See what happens with this battle here. Like you say, it's got under a second, so anything can happen.
He's just easing them in. I wonder if it's a tyre wear issue that's coming in, because there was a 5-second gap there after the pit stops, and now, as you can see, it's down to under 0.9. So I wonder if that's what's coming in. Now it's down to 0.6.
See, I don't know. With Wilco there, he seems to be running. He's using all the track and running wide, but sometimes that can punish you on here with the coping and the curbs that you've got, and that.
Oh, you see that?
Yeah, there we go.
Wiki Nico made a bad, but he did exactly what I said though. Those speed bumps on the outside there, they're evil. They are.
They literally.
He's right on him now, but that's not 0.6 of a second, is it? That's nothing of a second.
Right on top of him here.
Now the question is, Wiki Nico, as I said earlier, he's quite well down in the championship, but Jazzman Vermeulen is leading it. So is he going to play safe? Depends if is he looking at the long game with the championship, because it's only an extra 2 points, and the guy in front of him at the moment is quite well down in the championship, which reminds me, it's Abacus time, isn't it?
It is Abacus time, but I don't know what type of racer you are. There are 2 types of races. There are racers that will race tactically, and there are racers that just race to win. I have to admit, I'm a race to win type of guy, and I think Vermeulen is also, because he is looking all over the back end of that McLaren with that Bentley, trying to see where he can probably try and poke and ease away and snip in front of him and get another podium, put that on his shelf. Dropped off a little bit there. He was.
Yeah, it seemed to have the moment in the sun there when Wiki Nico made that mistake at Variante Alta, didn't he? And ran over those curves, but he now seems to have pulled the gap back out a little bit. I've got to say, Boy Raxer, Ben McCluskey is Mr. Consistent. He's been 3rd in every race.
Is he really?
Mm-hmm.
He's done very well with that Mercedes there.
Would be a lot more helpful if I could add up here, wouldn't it? Do you know, I had a question in the week about my abacus.
Did you really?
Do you know, a genuine question. You know, I was asked, is it imperial or metric?
Well, what was your answer?
I did some research, and it turns out it's imperial. Do you know how I found that out?
How?
Well, I measured my balls and they're exactly an inch diameter.
Oh, I don't know what's happening here. We've got server issues. We've got server issue. We have got server issue. I can't believe this.
Oh no!
I can't believe this. what I said to you is happening again. I just watched them go and start driving into the ground there. I'm going to assume the race will not be restarted from this. I'm going to assume that positions where they are at the moment will carry on and be the final standings from this here. So
will it be the usual 75% roll as long as they've completed 75%?
Well, yeah, it's literally 99.9% at this point here. So I would have thought the final standings of where they are at the moment on the screen will be what it is. I'm going to just take a quick screenshot for our guys, just in case. I'm doing exactly.
Well, yeah, you grab that. If we can keep the people interested for a second, I'll just do some quick arithmetic, so we can work out where everybody is. So I think definitely Jazzman Vermeulen is still going to be leading the championship with 73 points. Ben McCluskey's going to move up into second. Because Gaz has not scored any this week. He's going to only have 44 points. Let's have a look. Who was... see, I think a couple of others are disconnected there that maybe were on that, or we'll have to look back on the feed.
Now, what you'll find is it's the actual SBR server that they're rating on, which has had the fault here. It's not been the racers themselves, it's been the server which has gone a bit dash kaput, as they say. So yeah, right.
So in 9th place on that, although they've got 9 points for sure. So yeah, really, this has actually had quite an effect, because looking at this has meant Jared Vermeulen, who races as Jazzman, who will be on 73 points, and Ben McCluskey, who's Boy Racer, Mr. Consistently third, will be on 63. And by the looks of it, there isn't going to be much back until F1 Gaza still with 44 points.
Oh wow!
Because nobody had, like Sean Cool who was up there. He's only got 9 points. Coleman Corkery, I think he was quite way down. Sorry. Will Friedman, where was he? He only had 15 points. So we knew he was in 6th, didn't we? So we know the top 6 are right. Michael JC, he was only on 15 before. So yeah, this is actually gone quite a shakeout to the championship there, because those two guys are now going to be head and shoulders above the rest, because I don't think anybody else is going to be able to touch them. Sean Cool, he was down in 9th. He was 5th in the championship, so I think he's still going to be 5th. No, he's going to be 4th. And then Coleman Corkery, where did he finish? He was 7th, so I think he gets 13 points for that. So yeah, it's interesting. That's given a real split at the front of the championship before we go to Zandvoort next week for another 60-minute race.
Looking forward to that. Again, another tight track, Zandvoort. I've not nailed that one down myself as of yet. I don't know what you think about that track. It's a bit of a tricky one. Not many overtaking spots to be had.
No, really, just that first corner, isn't it? I wouldn't say I've got it 100% in any way, shape or form. And it's just if you can get that good exit off that last corner down the main straight, you've got a chance on the brakes into that first corner. But otherwise, there are a couple of tight bends, but there's no good long runs into them, is there, to be able to get that passing manoeuvre in place?
Well,
before we wrap up, we ought to just put a quick shout out to our sponsor, Steam Gaming, who was competing there and finished in 10th place. Thanks for being on board and doing what you do for us. And obviously, we'll be here again next Thursday, 8 o'clock. Hopefully, we're out server issues, but at least we got 59.5 minutes through before we hit any.
This is it. The ACC gods at least smile half favourably on us tonight, so congratulations again. Congratulations to everyone who participated and the winners there. Wilco, good on you, my man. I know you've been rooting for a podium after some disappointing DNFs not DNFs, but track limit penalties, which have knocked him down a few times in the past few races. So good on him there. Right, Muddy. It's been a pleasure.
Thank you. Another great evening, and
indeed,
looking forward for next week already. I'm going to have to do some research. I'll have to get me printer going again because I haven't got a Zandvoort data sheet. So
If you need anything, obviously give us a shout. I can send you the link to my trusty website that I use, and you might be able to print something off there if you'd like. And
website? How does that work again?
It's what, you know how you get those pigeons, and you put the little note on their thing. It's like that, but across the wire. So
Bird on a Wire. That was a film, wasn't it?
It probably was. I don't know. If it didn't have guns and shooting in it, I probably don't know it. Right.
Well, another great evening.
And you, I'm gonna go off and again geek away trying to get my VR settings right for ACC on PC. I don't know what you guys are up to, but again, it's been an absolute pleasure. Muddy, thank you very much. SBR, thank you very much. Guys, if you are watching this for the first time, please hit that like button and subscribe button. Hit that alarm bell. You get to hear us again every Thursday for the rest of this season and probably for future seasons as well.
Yep, and that's bye from me as well.
That's right, mate. Yeah, well, at least the start of it went better than the last week did. It's just the end of it then went wrong. So, oh well, come see, come saw, I guess. Oh well. All right, all the best to you, my man, and catch you all later.